Hello, hi, welcome to PC's Drag Series. This is,
Oh, I'm Pina Bush.
and I'm Cassie, and welcome to Pina and Cassi.
Girl, what did that girl just say, girl?
We are back for episode 5. Still quarantining. Cassie is located at the Golden Gate Bridge today.
It's a little windy.
Accompanied by Honey Mahogany, because we're finally putting art up in our apartment. Yay!
We're going to talk about inspiration. So pretty much we're going to go into depth. I can't speak today. In depth. I just started drinking. Jesus. We're going to go in depth about what drives our inspiration and motivation, and where we get our inspiration from and where you can find it. Sounds good?
Absolutely. Well, let's see. Grab our note cards. Should we introduce our unofficial sponsors?
Should we raise our glasses for this part? Wait, on the count of 3 though.
Oh,
do a countdown. Don't forget the countdown. All right, the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. So I'm drinking a Becky with the good hair, which is vodka, soda, and pink lemonade.
So I want to try that when
it's really good
together. I am drinking scotch and pink lemon or strawberry lemonade.
Ooh, almost matching.
Cassie de la Cunt.
Miss Pina Bush.
What is your music inspiration? What are your go-tos? Like, what do you love? What makes you move?
Well, I think we have one in common. We're gonna do a whole show about it. The day after this airs. So tune in for See You Next Time, the second to last show for a while. So Florence the Machine is one of my go-tos. Loved Florence while I was getting ready today. I was listening to her up and down. I just love her like poetic like verses in her songs, and then just like the imagery is so beautiful. The genres, I'm pretty all over the place except for country. I stay away from country. I just can't stand country. Girl, I lived in South Florida. I'm good. Other than that, like genres, I'm all over the place. I tend to fall more in the lines of like indie pop / alternative rock. I do like hip hop a lot. I do like the early 90s and 80s era a lot more, like the late 80s. Obviously, like Gloria Estefan, Latin music. Miss Pina Bush.
Cassie de la Cunt.
What inspires you with music?
One of my big ones is 80s music, just kind of across the board. And so I feel like my Jennifer Beals fantasy today. Yeah. But I particularly love like just really badass women. That's definitely honestly always been a really big inspo for me. In the 80s genre though, like I love Pat Benatar, I love the Go-Go's, I love like Pointer Sisters and Whitney Houston, and like just women who have like these incredible badass like voices, can play instruments, can Blondie's a big one for me too, like just like women who I feel like changed the game and were really like just pioneers in their genre. I do love my Florence and the Machine. She's my all-time favorite. The first time I ever heard any of her music, my friend and I were just like improvising in the dance studio, and he put her on for me, and I'd never heard anything by Florence before, and we just listened to Dog Days Are Over, and I just like I danced like I've never danced before, and that's always been where Florence has come for me, is like being able to dance and being able to feel things ways that I've never felt before.
Yeah, and I think it's funny because like I think with like Florence and the Machine, like you wouldn't necessarily like think of Florence and the Machine like as like a dancey kind of artist, but she has like definitely like broken kind of that mainstream poppy art, like especially with Sweet Nothing. Artists that we love to like perform to but can't because it doesn't fit in a bar setting. So do you think that uninspires us, or drives our inspiration more to work harder to find that how that can fit in a bar setting?
I would agree more with the latter. And because even if it doesn't work in a bar setting, it's still
Mhm.
something that is inspiring you to create something. And so
Mhm.
it's that chain reaction, you know? It's like if you hear the song and you're like, I know that this will not work for the party, it will not work for the environment, but it pushes you to find the song that will. And
Uh-huh.
if you've thought of a concept with one song, a lot of the times I find like that certain concept will still fit in other songs and other performances and other, stuff like that.
That will help you like create your own mixes too, because like I found like certain songs that like, ooh, I really love this song, but this whole song does not fit the concept that I want to portray.
Totally.
We now have like drag queens have like not found like this new ability to do music videos, even though it's like an old concept. So it's just kind of funny to watch everyone like now become music video producers. But like to be able to do songs that you can't do at bars now, you can do at home and promote it online.
Yeah.
So, back to music. What's like your one music artist that you haven't performed yet or done very little of in drag that you are wanting to bring on stage, whether it's live on the internet or live at the bar?
You know who it is.
Huh?
I shit you not. It's Taylor Swift.
And that's the end of PC Drag Series. Goodbye.
So
me and Pina Bush are no longer friends.
I'll save you the entire story, but basically I was like a longtime hater of Taylor Swift. It had a lot to do with internalized misogyny. I'm trying to move past that. I love her so much now. I'm like a recently converted Swiftie. I don't even care because I love her music so much.
I actually have two. One is like the XX. I love the XX. They're just like their music is amazing. I've seen them live a bunch of times. And I really like if you ever go to an XX concert, like they do a lot of cool things with like lights and stuff like that, and just kind of like the vibe is just really cool.
Yeah.
And like their last album, I See You, just like to me, just like summed up like my whole like 2018 to 2019 experience. Other like artists or genres that I really want to get into more is more into like my Latin culture. Because growing up, like I grew up with so much Latin music, more so than any other kind of genre. Like I grew up with a lot of Ricky Martin, Enrique Iglesias, and Gloria Estefan, and like Shakira. Like I don't normally perform them as a performed like our practice number. But I would get in like P90X and stuff like that. But I do want to like take something like that and like kind of expand on it and give it like the appreciation that it deserves.
Makeup and fashion. What?
Makeup and fashion. What inspires my makeup? I would say like the early stages of Cassie, like oops, there goes my card. It just blew off the fog, the wind, everything.
Just blame Carl.
So like with my makeup, when I first started doing drag, like my inspiration with makeup was very like low and didn't really did much with it because I was just trying to learn how to like put on makeup on my face and let it stay. It wasn't until I came out to San Francisco is when I really molded into my drag character, I would say. So like the whole like mouthpiece, which I kind of explained in like the earlier episodes of PC Drag Series, was like Twisty the Clown. So like a lot of my makeup kind of inspiration comes from like that character, as well as like looking at different movies and like trying to recreate different makeup looks like Maleficent, like Angelina Jolie's with their like really strong cheekbones, which I try to like do a lot of times.
I know it's hard when you don't have prosthetics or CGI.
But it's like, but if you can master it, it's really great, and you save yourself a lot of money on prosthetics. But yeah, so like I take different concepts of that, and then I think my biggest inspiration of drag makeup is other drag performers. Like I do the whole face swap and doing like mimic my co-host's look, because it really challenges me to become really creative of how to do that person's face on my face, and it kind of morphs my regular makeup into a whole new kind of version or evolution of Cassie. Mm-hmm. So that's where I get my inspiration from for makeup. Fashion, Forever 21. With fashion, in terms of like me creating fashion, I don't really, like, I'm not a sewer. Like, I just tend to take things and like build things on it, glue on it. Look in terms of like as a full look aesthetic with that comes with the makeup instead of just like clothing articles and stuff like that.
My fashion makeup inspo comes from like so many different sources. Like, you know, I used to work in makeup, so a big part of my inspo definitely came from like when I was working there, and especially technically because I learned so much about application and like how to apply, you know, and what will work for my face and what works for other people's face shapes. And but as far as like color and aesthetic and stuff like that, like 80s editorial is a huge one for me because I love really colorful makeup. I am not a natural makeup person, like, at all. But as far as fashion goes, like, because I'm pretty goth in my daytime life. So like a lot of my drag when I first started was like all black. I'm like, I just like a really good black leotard, and I happen to have 6 of them. Sorry. So but like now it's a great mix of 80s shiny vinyl, neon, and then also like really dark and witchy shit. So just depending on the mood. If I'm feeling Pina Bush 80s glorified, or if I'm feeling Pina Bush, the Pina Bush monster, I have things for both. Cassie de la Cut. What keeps you inspired? And when you lose your inspiration, what helps you bring it back?
Because I think this is like really hitting hard for me because like I'm on the brink of losing inspiration, especially with this whole like online drag shows and content. Because for me right now, what's losing my inspiration is like when, and it's not all about the money, but it does help. And when you're seeing that you're not, our audience doesn't appreciate your art or like your shows and stuff, it, you know, for me, my inspiration goes way down. And then to put the cherry on top is when, especially when you produce a show and you have a lot of drag performers in your show and they are not as appreciative of you giving them an opportunity, and they act like you owe them everything. And to me, that's uninspiring. But how do you bounce back from that? Right now, for what I'm trying out is take a drag vacation, which is what you did, and take time for myself. Because like I've noticed, like for me, like I just need space and quiet and recharge a little bit and not hear anybody else's feedback for a while and kind of just like work on me in order to come up with a better Cassie later on. What does keep me inspired? So I do this little thing once in a while. So I save a lot of my Instagram stories on my Instagram page and my show page. And what I tend to do is I go back to the beginning of time when I started it and I watch it all and see all the good that I've done and how happy I was when I was, you know, making that content. Sorry, my phone is slipping. And that to me was like, is a huge motivator to keep doing what I'm doing. Because then I can see for myself that I am not that much of a bad drag queen. But you know, that I have created some good art, and not every time every art's going to be a winner, like, or what you produce is going to be a crowd pleaser. But looking back and seeing what other people do enjoy it and love it, you know, it's a really, really, really good motivator. Miss Pina Bush.
Cassie de la Cut.
When you lose inspiration, how do you gain inspiration back?
So taking a break is a big one for me. I am very, like, because when I go hard, I go full throttle, I go aggressively, and I spend all of my energy, and then I have to completely start from scratch to get it back to where it should be. But also, like, one of my biggest sources of inspiration just in general, but also one of the things that helps me stay inspired is watching other people's drag. And going to shows, you know, being in this case, being online for the virtual shows. I'm not tuning into everything, but the ones I am tuning into, I'm like, okay, like seeing how people are navigating self-isolation and what parts of their apartments they're using and inspire them, and like, you know, what camera angles and things like that. And then, but when I go see a live show, it's, you know, how are they interacting with the audience, and how are they, you know, how do they do that contour just the way that they do, and you know, things like that. Because you know, when I'm in my own performance space, I get really lost in my own self, and it's hard for me to be able to look at other people's numbers as like, you know, a way of studying them. I'm just like, oh, I'm just gonna watch the show until my number's here, you know, and like, not that I'm like not paying attention to the show, but you know, it's a different animal when you're performing. And you know, when I'm able to just sit and enjoy the show, like I can really sit back and just say like, oh, that's how they did this, or that's how they did this transition, or you know, oh, they cut their mix with, you know, such and such, and that made it so much funnier. So it's, I think when I'm able to not perform and be able to completely step out of it and be able to just be like, okay, I'm gonna watch the show and really absorb the show, that is what re-inspires me, and that's what keeps me going. And like, you know, and it's the same for any of my art forms, you know, dance, makeup, you know, like, but to be able to completely step out of it, separate myself from it, and just be like, I am an audience member, I am gonna watch the show, that inspires me.
I've been so focused on like co-producing and stuff, like it wasn't until like I stopped watching my sister's drag shows and started watching other people's drag shows. Like I think that's another big thing, like I think people should focus on. It's like, stop watching your family shows. Not saying don't support them, but like take a seat out and see how other people are doing things. And you might learn something.
Absolutely. Well, that is our show today. Thank you so much for tuning in again to episode 5. Happy to have you with us through this journey. And if you're just joining us, thank you so much for coming along. We will be back in 2 weeks for a new episode. And please stay tuned. Tell all of your friends. What else are you doing right now? So you can watch a lot of Pussy and Cunty. Once again,
and I'm Cassie Delacunt, and thank you for tuning in to PC, Pussy and Cunty.
Pussy, puss, puss, give 'em cunt, 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 bitch. Mama, yes, God, then you pop that tongue, bitch. This whole club is my runway, run, bitch. Y'all 5, 4, 3, 2s, I'm a one, bitch. Girl, what did that girl just say, girl? Girl.